this episode 8? Did I count wrong?
This is 8.
Okay, slay. I mean, just kidding. Yay! I didn't say that.
We
Ignore
talked
that.
about lucky number 7 last time.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
So, yeah.
good call.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 8.
Hey, yo.
Because I learned how to count.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of fun things to talk about today, which is why you may notice, if you are a visual tuner inner, that we do not have Diet Dr. Pepper today. We instead have
Wine.
2 glasses of red wine and also a bottle behind us to refill.
We're here for a good time, not a long time.
Cheers, Han. I already took a sip, which is
Cheers,
bad luck,
Kimberly.
but should we just jump right in? Let's just get right to it.
Oh, yeah. We've had quite a week since
We had
the last episode.
such a week. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to cover, a lot of funny stories that have happened that we now need to share with the internet.
And you guessed it. It's mainly about men.
The first topic is Hannah was recently on a virtual dating show.
Yeah, I was.
It was on Instagram Live. One of the local, like, Washington, D.C. Instagram accounts was hosting this, like...
Washingtonian probs. Hey.
Yeah,
hi,
they
team.
were hosting this, like, live, Instagram Live dating show. And Hannah was selected as a contestant.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a wild ride, everyone.
I had so much
crazy.
fun. Like, it really was like, I've never done anything like this before, out of my like comfort zone or whatever. And
I would have
think
been
I was
shaking in my boots.
I was here with you guys when I saw the application like announcement or whatever, and I was just like, "Fuck it, why not?" Because whatever.
Mhm. Fuck it, we ball.
There's a lot of women in DC statistically, compared to men. If you're just
Why do
looking
I
at
keep-
male-female population.
I keep choosing places like this, and it's really not working out for me.
Yeah, you
Because
really
UNC
do.
was the same way. The ratio was so skewed. There were so many women.
Bro, the ratio, bro.
Yeah, there were so many women, and which inherently ended up that a lot of the guys were dating so high up because
Yeah.
there was just not enough women to go, or there was not enough guys to go around. So all these like fucking mediocre men would end up with like bombshells because there was no one for us to choose from. Because, obviously.
Well, and here we are again. So I was like, there's a lot of, people out there who might be tuning in and wanting to apply. So I was like,
Yeah.
whatever, we'll see what happens. I was picked. I don't know how they screened or what the process was, but I was selected.
Probably because you're
And-
just beautiful and charismatic and funny.
Thank you. Someone
And
say
hot
funny,
and
hot, and very
cool.
cool. But they tried a different format because they've done it like once or twice before when it was like COVID dating and stuff. And this time they didn't have like enough bachelors to do like 1-to-1 ratio type of dating, basically.
Yeah.
So they did it more bachelor style, like the show where they had
when I
multiple
joined the
girls
live,
for one guy.
It wasn't what I was expecting. I thought
Mhm.
you were going to get your choice of men. I didn't realize that it was one bachelor and then
Yeah.
4 women.
Yeah, so I mean, but that's because of how the population is. This is a prime example. If you want to watch the recording of the live, it's posted on at Washingtonian Probs on Instagram. You can't see the comments from the live, which were really funny, but
Yeah,
you
we
can
were
watch the whole
absolutely
thing if you're interested.
Tearing up the comment section.
Yeah.
I got some follows. I got some
For
compliments.
sure. I was trying not to laugh the whole time. I mean, all of the comments for each of the contestants. So it was one bachelor for like basically an hour on Instagram Live. He had 4 dates. So 4 ladies, 10 minutes with each lady. There were 4 different games. So for each of the dates, they got one of the 4 games. So he played 4 different games. And then
Hannah
after
went
that,
last.
then you could ask like questions or just chat or whatever. So you basically had like 4-ish minutes, 5-ish minutes of a game and then 5 minutes to talk.
Yeah.
And then he would choose at the end one of the 4 ladies to go on an actual date with in person. And then it was sponsored by a local, I forget, Vector or
remember,
something.
yeah.
They own a lot of venues and do a lot of management with some of the cool bars and restaurants and clubs around DC. So I was the last of the 4, so I got to sit and watch the whole live.
Which was like, I can't explain the level of cringe that was like excreting from every pore in my body watching the first 3. And I was getting nervous for you because I was like, this is cringy. Like, he's being cringy. It's awkward. The host is like there the whole time. So
the host did a fantastic job with the situation.
I think she did with how awkward it was.
And this is the first episode. They're doing it weekly every Wednesday. So I think that was also part of it too. So no one really knew how it was going to look or how it was going to work.
I think you had the benefit of going last because we got to hear some wild things that this bachelor said that were a little red flaggy. So
he had some hot takes.
He had some takes. The paying one.
Yeah.
He said straight up, he was like, I don't believe that men should pay for everything. Like, it should.
He said a relationship should be 100, 100.
100, 100, right. And I was like, first of all, I don't know what that means. And then I was like, okay, this is a rant I could get on about paying, but I firmly believe that for the first couple of dates, at least, a man should pay. And for starters, close the wage gap, and then this can be a real conversation. But second of all, I think that so many men don't really like wrap their heads around the level of or the lack of safety that we feel when going on first and second and third dates when we don't really know these people.
For sure.
And it always like is just a little bit of a flag to me when you can't even show that appreciation by like covering my $15 old fashioned. I'm like, I came out to meet you, a stranger, most likely at night, to consume a beverage that will impair my judgment. Like, check, unsafe, unsafe, unsafe. Every fiber of my being as a woman goes against that naturally. And here I am.
Also, just the societal, like, expectations these days of many men look at, and we're strictly speaking on, like, the hetero relationships of cis men and cis women right now, because that's what we know. But, like, it just feels like so many men these days are expecting like a transaction, like, well, I bought you dinner or I bought you a drink, so I should get something in return.
Yeah.
And it's like, my brother in Christ, $15 does not mean you get, like, I'm not gonna suck your dick, because first of all, $15, that's way too cheap. Come on.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's just like, and so if you're looking at dating as like a transactional thing and like it's about money, like, I don't need to go to an expensive restaurant. You can take, I know that there's a trend right now of women being like, I don't ever want to go to a first date to Red Lobster or Olive Garden.
Oh, I've never heard that. I would fuck up bottomless pasta.
Fucking take me to Olive Garden. I want to go to Cheesecake. That's a little more pricey.
We
but
love
still.
a suburban chain restaurant.
Literally. Yeah. I'm like, maybe not McDonald's, but like we talk on here before, like $20 or less will get us things that will make us happy.
Yeah.
You know?
I am a cheap date. I'm easy to please. But I just prefer, like, to show that appreciation, like, on a first, second. And then also, I'm sitting there.
And I'm going to get gussied up if we go to McDonald's or not.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I also feel like you were talking about, like, societal expectations. Another one is, like, how I look, right? How we look as women sitting across from these people on these dates. I have makeup on. My hair is done. Like, I'm supposed to look young and fresh and well-rested and have on a good outfit and be tan and have my lips looking juicy and my
sexy
teeth are
but
white.
Modest and like all yeah. It's so what's America Ferrera's speech in the Barbie movie?
Oh my gosh,
it's
just
that.
hit play.
It's
I know, it's amazing. But sometimes when I'm sitting there and this guy's like, "Do you want to split the check?" I'm like, "The foundation on my face is $65 fucking dollars." No.
Yes, and
just
also
like, no.
Sorry, also you're able to walk and or metro and or whatever. If I'm going out at 8:00 at night and I'm going home and I'm in a dress and maybe a heel or something,
I have to Uber.
I'm probably going to Uber.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I don't want to make a gross assumption that like
make a disgusting assumption.
A little nasty ass assumption. Ooh. Oh, it's so dirty.
Oh no, my assumptions are so dirty and nasty.
I think it's so, and I think this is funny that like there are so many things we as women do to prepare ourselves for dates or like going over to a guy's house that they will just never fully understand or know.
Yeah.
Like I'm
planning a week in advance my routine.
Same.
I have to wash my hair, when I have to tan, when I have to shave.
100%.
Do I have to get a wax? Do I have
yeah, totally.
The outfits, do I have to do laundry?
I was doing the like self-tan contour hack the other night and I like went to sleep and I looked at myself and I was like, this is so crazy looking. If someone were to walk into my bedroom, they would think I was doing some type of like ritual because my face is like chisel painted with this like dark brownish olive green self-tanner so that I will naturally look more snatched on my face.
For sure. Or
than
just
I
whenever you
really
do like
am.
a face sheet mask and eye patches and teeth, like the teeth whitening thing where you have like the little device in your mouth.
You know that's my go-to.
And you're like just sitting
all
there.
3 at once.
Yeah. And you also probably have tan on
Marinating.
your whole body too. Like you're just sitting in your bed marinating like a little olive.
Yeah.
And then just like, and for what?
And like
for a guy to tell me I don't want to pay $25 for your pad thai?
Yeah, or like I'll be like, I started getting ready at 5. I showed up to your door at 7:30, and you like got home from work. I'm like, I started getting ready 2
He's like, I
hours
showered
ago.
at the gym and I used their like 10-in-1 body wash.
It's just so funny, but it's the things we do to like make ourselves feel better and feel comfortable and feel pretty. I've kind of like perfected this on dates because I don't like not feeling like as perfect as I can. So on a first date this summer, it's the summer, it's hot. We've talked about how sweaty we are. I think it was
I'm
like
sweating right now.
Same. You have a beanie on.
Yeah, I know, but I was sweating when I got here.
Yeah.
I have to wear the sweater or else you'll see my boob sweat.
That's why I went for black today, because I couldn't wear a tank top and show pit stains again.
Oh.
By the way, black dress is my go-to first date outfit because you can't see anything. Anyway, so I was wearing said dress on this date, and it was summer, probably like end of July, early August, and it was hot out, not hot enough out that it was uncomfortable to be outside, but we had drinks outside and then decided to go to another bar, which was like a 15-minute walk from the first place. And like, I'm a sweaty bitch. So by the time we get to the second bar, I'm like, I can feel that like my upper lip is wet. Like I have beaded up sweat on my face and like
dripping down your back.
Right. And I'm like, this date is going well. I like him. I don't want to ruin it by looking not fucking perfect.
Yeah.
So
heaven forbid I show that I'm a human.
Literally my thought process. So I, ladies and men and anyone who wants this tip, I keep a literal pocket fan in my purse. It's electric, like the ones that tourists use at Disney World. I keep it in my purse. I was like, excuse me, I have to go to the restroom. And I went to the restroom and stood there and dried my face with this fan and blotted it with toilet paper so that I would not look sweaty when I returned to our bar stools.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows that, but that
Probably
happened.
Not. I bring a little like hand fan and I just fan myself.
But sometimes moving my arm though, it makes me
and then
hotter.
also I have to like do that in front of people. But it is what it is.
I just thought of actually another funny story from that date, and then I'll shut up about it. We're sitting at this bar. This is all in the same night, and something that we were talking about prompted me to go on my phone, like on the internet, and he was like, do you think if I went through your search history right now, like you would be embarrassed? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, no, like, of course not. It's probably like the most recent menu I had to eat from.
It's embarrassing, but not like an incriminating way.
Yeah, not like that. I was like, it's like IMDb over and over and over again. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, no, go for it. And he goes to pull up my Safari. And I had totally forgotten that the night before, a certain electronic device that I own that many women probably also own and store in their nightstand had died. And so I had promptly ordered a new one that day. And the last thing on my search history, on my Safari, like open, was the order confirmation for this. And I was just
amazing.
Like, oh. It was funny because I was so confident on how like clean and PG and not embarrassing my search history was. Yeah. And then I was like,
except for that once in a while.
Yeah. So
that's funny.
Yeah. It was a good date.
Yeah. Speaking of non-PG things, when I did the dating show, we played Would You Rather, and the host was like, do you want to do PG, PG-13, or X? And at this point, he's been dating the entire hour, and I've been watching, so I'm like, I don't fucking care. Let's send it.
Which also was weird because none of the other women really had a chance to make it, like, spicy at all.
Not really.
And so they came in hot with you.
Yeah.
They were like, let's go straight to the inappropriate jokes.
Thinking back on it, I think I would have, like, wanted to do one from each section and, like, build up to it. I think would have been better.
Yeah.
But anyway, they started off with like the X-rated, like, would you rather get like choked or spanked or like have your toes licked or whatever the fuck the ones were. And I'm just like, I'm not really getting to know him through this game. You know
Really?
what I
What
mean?
makes you say that?
Is sometimes would you rather is like the one question we had was, would you rather work your dream job or not work at all?
Yeah.
And I said dream job because I would love to have a rescue and rescue
Yeah.
animals.
And
And
I
I
loved
think
that
that's so
answer.
fun. So that's my dream job. And he said not work at all, which, you know,
Which
respect.
also the comment section blew up at this point because we were like, you don't want to work? How are you going to like, he doesn't want to pay. And it just like spiraled into his whole like, I don't pay on dates thing. It was so funny.
It just sucked because you only have 10 minutes. This game's already taken like 5 or 6 minutes. And then he
The
said
games
that
took too long. That's my criticism of the show.
And he said, I wish they took like questions from the audience too. But he started, they were like, oh, like explain your answers. And I was like, well, I want to rescue animals. That's my explanation, blah, blah, whatever I just said earlier.
Yeah.
And his explanation it felt like 20 minutes.
Yes. That was like,
And so every time we had like a question, it was like a 20-minute answer. And I was like, oh my God, okay, I need to like find out more about this guy so I can understand if he's someone I even want to date or not.
right.
Because that's how I look at dating. I don't know if any males out there recognize that like women also have like a choice in dating and like suss you out too.
That's so crazy of you to assume.
I know it's like, it's not, I know that like you think probably you as a man, typically like a decent majority of the population think it's okay. Like it's enough to just like, I have a job, I have these accomplishments, I own a home, I have a car, I have a job, whatever.
I have a personality.
No. So I go to the gym, right? I'm fit. Check I have a job, I have money, check. I have a home, whatever. I don't live with my parents, whatever the fuck it is. And they're like, I've met all these requirements.
Why
so
don't
women
you
will
want
want to date me.
100%.
It's like, I know it's really tough that you have a job,
No.
but unfortunately you also have to have a personality.
I know it's hard to balance.
I know it's really hard for men.
I feel like that was what the benefit was to watching the first 3 women date this guy is that we kind of learned that his personality would not click.
Yeah,
with
and
yours.
that was really helpful for me. I was thinking about the first woman that went. I was like, she had a really tough job, not only going first, but like you only get 10 minutes, and like that's it.
Had they given y'all any information
I
about
have
him?
no idea. The first time you saw him was the first time I saw him. All you know is that he's a bachelor in the DMV.
Okay. That's also
and he's
tough.
interested in women.
That's also tough because, like, I mean, we're about to get a little niche, but DMV, I'm like, what? You live in Gaithersburg? I'm not interested. Like, I don't want to drive 35 minutes.
They asked for your location when they did
I thought that was one thing they should have, like, there are a lot of people in the comments being like, where do these people, like, live?
Yeah.
I think it was, like, a big
that was
question.
sort of in the screening process, so I don't know if they, like, tried to group people together. In the people that I've talked to that have been working on this show, it sounds like maybe they put some thought into who was going. It wasn't just like, oh, these are the first like 5 people we have.
Yeah,
it's like they kind of were selecting different people.
Can you?
But
sorry,
I was gonna say
I'm
the last question I asked.
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask you.
Okay,
I'm getting
eager
for you to talk about it.
I asked him a generic question, and then I was like, I know I have time for basically one more question. And again, he's giving such long answers that I'm like, I need to make sure that I have enough information. So I know there's a TikTok trend about this.
There is, yeah.
But the question is, do you think you could land a plane if you have to? And to be honest with everybody, I have never seen any of the TikTok videos about it. I just know. And for me, I don't personally care if you say yes or no. I care about how you answer the question, which I don't know if that's what TikTok.
It's mostly like women going up to their like hetero significant others being like, do you think you could land a plane? And if they say yes, they're just like, every man thinks that he can.
Okay. Like every man thinks they should have a podcast.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's like another
it's like a little like
Roman
toxic
Empire.
masculinity type like weird thing. Anyway, my thought was like, I don't really care if he says yes, because like honestly I would probably say yes too, but like if I also give myself
you're
a
just
50-50 chance. Well, and I've always said that, and I'm a dumb bitch.
Yeah.
My hat says dumb bitch for those not watching. I digress. He says, I said, do you think you can land a plane? He says, do I have help? I said, you have air traffic control or whatever on the headphones, talking to you, walking you through it. That's the only reason that I think I could potentially land a plane.
Yeah.
Is because someone's walking me through it.
I
There's a
don't
lot of other
know.
factors that go into me landing a plane successfully.
I don't know whether or not that
I'm also
caveat
fascinated by planes too, and
It's
have
fucking crazy.
looked into some things about planes. So I'm not
I don't
blind
know
out
if air
here.
traffic control has been a caveat to the question in the past, but it's an interesting addition to this.
So that's where, I mean, we're not like fully hatchet over here landing a plane in a lake. A gay lake. Sorry, that's from Trixie and Katya. Anyway, he says his answer is yes, and he says I actually don't know if he started out with yes, but he is affirming that he could, and he says he's a really athletic person. He's very competitive. He's very confident.
You have to have big biceps to land a plane. That's what I've heard.
He said that something about like God's plan, like he has more to live in life, and especially if there's other people, if there's other people on the plane, he's definitely going to land it because like it's about caring for other people,
saving the world,
and like he grew up like having to like in the importance of caring for other people and like all this stuff, and I can see where part of his thought process was, let me make sure in here that I reassure people that I'm confident, athletic, and a caring person.
Fine.
Again, you have 10 minutes. He's trying to fit it all in there. And aren't most men just trying to fit it all in there?
Indeed. But he
needed to lubricate the situation.
One of my biggest qualms with him.
I'll tell you where my thoughts switch to no after you say your biggest qualm.
Is that he never stopped talking. Okay. He didn't let y'all talk. Every woman was just like waiting there, like smiling on screen behind her ring light, waiting for him to stop his explanation. And I get that it is a balance. Like he only had a certain amount of time to show his personality too. But when you only have 10 minutes, your 90-second explanation of why you prefer choking over spanking is not necessary.
Yeah, I agree, because as someone who's been in a sales role in a sales organization,
time is precious.
That, and when you have a sales call, you want your customer talking about 70% and you're talking 30, because that means you're asking questions, you're getting to know them, they're giving you long answers.
Does this mean if I like someone, I should shut the fuck up?
If you want to know more about them, yeah.
God, it's so hard. I want to be one of those like mysterious girls that no one knows anything about, but I can't stop talking, and now I have a podcast.
Yeah. Well, and it's because men don't let you talk. They want to know more about you, but they don't, because they won't shut up and ask questions, and then you ask your question, you get out of the way. And that's when people tell you more about themselves. Also, people hate awkward silences.
I am so comfy in a silence. I just like sit there.
And if you wait long enough, someone's going to fill the void.
And if we accidentally wait long enough, we have a blinking contest.
And we have no listeners. They're like, what happened? My machine turned off. Anyway, that's just a thought that I have in general in conversations that I always kind of track. What was the no for me? Because I was like, this guy, it's a weird situation. People have nerves. No one's done this before. Like, he could just be talking a lot because he's nervous.
Yeah.
We've all done it when we had to give presentations in class.
Or been on dates.
Literally.
I've gotten home from dates before and talked to Audrey and been like, he's going to hate me. I wouldn't stop talking.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I just apologized to your table for hitting it. I hope you know.
It thanks you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm a big benefit of the doubt person, to a fault, definitely. That's something for therapy. So I'm like, depending on how he answers my airplane question is going to determine if I say yes or no, because I was told in the rules of the game, you can say no at any point. You can stop the date whenever you want to. So if you're not vibing, whatever. And I was like, honestly, I don't know if I want to wait to hear it. Like the end of like who he chooses. I don't know if I'm really into this. So I said, depending on how he answers, I'll play the game.
Yeah.
When he started saying that when he said he was competitive.
Yeah.
Because to me, landing an airplane is not a competition unless you're a professional pilot and you're doing airplane races.
Are you competing with
really
God?
A thing. Well, and I always do. And every day I win because I'm still here. Yeah, no, I was like, that is insane. And again, maybe he was nervous and that's the first thing, because he's trying to tell enough about himself in this 3 minutes we have. So that was for me where I was like, that's just not going to work out for me, dude.
And you.
And then our time ended and I said, it was so nice to meet you, because it was fun, like getting to know him and everything.
Yeah.
I think that's a really
Like
fun
a cool
part of dating.
experience, yeah.
Yeah, and it was a really cool experience. And the other women were so fantastic. I'm like, honestly, they're going to have more fun with you on a date than I would. So I was like, great getting to know you. Best of luck. But I don't think we're really a match.
Hannah said this on Instagram Live, by the way.
And then I think the host was like,
Which was, it was so badass. Also, like, we had been texting the whole time, like, in our little girls group chat.
My phone was muted, so I didn't see any of their texts. All I saw was any comment that they put in the chat. If I could read it in time, I'm a slow reader.
We were watching on my iPad so that me and Audrey both had our phones going. Rachel was also watching on her iPad so that she could have her phone going. It was like, everyone was all in, and we were sending funny comments and, like, being like, go Hannah, whatever. And then to watch you just be like, this was really fun, I'm just not really into it, was so validating, because I think after watching him date these other 3 women, we were like, I don't think this is someone who Hannah's necessarily going to vibe with. There are a few other, like, flags that are going off that make me hesitant to suggest him for you. And it was just like, he seemed like someone who could need a little, like, knocking down a few pegs. And I think it was... I mean, the audience fucking loved it. Everyone was like, Hannah's a badass.
They enjoyed it. That's for sure. I will say, like, you know, no shade to him. He just says, like, his level of confidence and my level of confidence, we're not gonna vibe.
No, yeah, I agree.
I think we would have been hitting a lot of walls. And him talking to the other girls, I was like, he clearly is like vibing with them more than our conversation. Not that I was
thought
like
he was
sitting
gonna
there
pick the
comparing
first girl.
myself the whole time, but I was just like, in the back of my head, I was like, they would have more fun on this date than me. And I know it's a competition or whatever because you get to win a date, but it's not really, because it's supposed to be about dating.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't need to.
Can you
do this?
Drink your wine, by the way? I'm like lapping.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, in terms of knocking people down, my mom texted me. What a transition.
I know.
Anyway, she said we watched your dating game thingy, she called it. And she said that I crushed his ego when I said no thanks to him.
I think you did a little, because then so also, I'm sure most people listening didn't know that this was happening besides, like, our direct friend group. But once Hannah said that, and at the end, the host was like, well, it sounded like you can promote your book or something. And she was like, actually, I have a podcast. And then the live cut out. You didn't even get to say the name of Funny Hot Very Cool.
I actually didn't. What happened was she was like, oh my God, because one of my questions was about the title of your autobiography, which we talked about. And I was like, that's a good dating question to, like, just break some more ice without getting too serious, and get to know someone's actual personality, which, again, for a man is like...
Is it really there or not?
For most, not all men.
Yeah.
Benefit of the doubt. Anyway, the live, she said something about, like, I'd read your book or whatever. And I was like, well, I have a podcast, so it's like a book on tape.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, thanks so much, like, bye.
Mm-hmm.
And I left. Mm-hmm. And then she asked him one question. She said she was funny. And he said, well, and then it cut.
Yeah.
And that's when the live ended.
And then they came back, and
I was panicking because I was like, did I fuck something up?
I know.
Apparently, it was a time limit. You can only do an hour or something on Instagram.
Yeah. And then they came back, and she was like, well, Hannah was a hoot, like, blah, blah, blah. She was so amazing. And he goes, she was all right. And I almost threw my phone at the wall. I was like, this man's fragile ego just was shattered. He said, well, she was all right. And I was like, I commented, I was like, everyone go tell Hannah right now she's more than all right. I got defensive.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't mean to, like, hurt his feelings. I'm like, you have 3 other women here who want to date you, so I didn't think it would be that big of a blow. I also didn't feel like he would have picked me anyway.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of guys that I've turned down nicely have taken it pretty well, actually, which is kind of crazy.
Lately it has been like that, but there have been those few nuggets in the past where you're just like, dude,
there's
come
always
on.
a few when, like, they come up to you in public and they're like, can I get your number? And I'm like, I don't give my number to strangers, is my most common response. And then if they keep pushing, I'll say I have a boyfriend, and then like, do you really? I don't believe you for a sec. Like all this stuff, and
No,
I'm like,
but you won't take
what?
fucking no for an answer.
I'll tell you one of the most ridiculous things a man's ever said to me. On a first date at Barcelona Wine Bar when it was freezing outside and we were sitting outside, I remember very clearly. He was sitting across this table from me and said, "You curse a lot." And I said, "Oh, do I? Do I? I think I do kind of on accident
You
sometimes."
said, "What the fuck do you mean?"
I do think sometimes I can get into like a rant.
Well,
and
she's dripping.
Ooh. We can leave it on the table then, and not on my white shelf.
Well, she already did.
That's okay. Okay, it'll be like a little ode.
Okay.
But yeah, he told me that I curse too much. And we saw each other 2 more times after that. I was like doing the benefit of the doubt thing.
Oh yeah.
Ended up getting the ick a little bit on our 3rd date and basically ran home. I was like, I can't do it. And then he reached out to me like a year later, and I was like, sure, why not? We went on another date, and I brought it up, and I was like, do you know that on our first date you told me that I cursed too much? And he was like, there's no way I said that. And I was like, no, you did. I remember.
Maybe he was embarrassed she brought it back up.
Maybe, but
I would also say
clearly it didn't work out. So
the other crazy thing a guy said to you is that you're too punk rock to take home to mom and dad.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that one is my number one. That was in college.
That's a funny one.
That was in college. I was like kind of canoodling with like a friend of a friend, and I had taken him to a date function, and stayed over. And I at said date function, I had worn like combat boots with studs on them, and I remember like chit-chatting, and he was like, yeah, you're kind of punk rock. And I was like, oh. And he was like, yeah, maybe like too punk rock to take home to mom and dad. And I was just like,
I can wear my Converse with my dress. Oh, baby.
That's just me. Yeah, I was like, I'm in a sorority, but okay. It was like,
literally, I'm at UNC in
Yeah.
a sorority.
yeah. I was like, go take your salmon-colored Vineyard Vines shirt and golf shoes
Get
somewhere
your
else.
tiny patterned pants out of here.
Yeah, baby blue pants with whales on them.
Get your boating shoes out of my face.
Dude,
Your
boating
Sperry's
shoes,
off my
remember? Oh my god.
I was working I was like year 1 or 2 of living in DC. My manager and I are really good friends. Hey Bev, we went to the gym together after work because we were like, it was super stressful, but like, let's go to the gym. We got and pizza on the way home.
Hot.
And I went to her house and we watched Bachelor in Paradise. There was like a new episode out. So it was like, had to work until 6. And then I worked late, and then we went to the gym, and then we went home with pizza, and I'm at my friend's house. It's like 8 to 9 p.m. Anyway, this guy, we had been on like 2 dates. I was texting him, and I was like, it's gonna be a busy week because I knew my clients were like had like a lot of deadlines going on, and so I'm texting him here and there during the day, and then I like text him before I leave the office or something. And then I go do this, and it's like 3-4 hours later, and I sent him a text while I'm at Bev's being like, oh, like just got pizza with my friend or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I think like I fired off one other text like 10 minutes later or something. And then I like it was almost immediate that he was responding to me, and he just goes,
well,
anyone ever
baby.
told you you're hard to get a hold of? And I was like, I literally prompted this week being like, it's going to be crazy at work this week.
Yeah.
I have not gone home yet.
We love communicating ahead of time.
And that's when I was like, that is such a huge ick. That happened to me one other time too. So
Someone
I guess I have been told
someone couldn't get a hold of you.
Yeah. It
Something
was,
about me, you can get a hold of me. I am always on my phone.
Also,
I'm the other person.
heaven forbid he texted me, I think it was maybe 10 minutes, and he texted me again and said, you're hard to get a hold of.
I'm like a 24-hour.
That's the thing is he had double texted me saying I'm hard to get a hold of.
If you're not responding to me within like 6 hours, like your work day has gone by already, that's when I'm like needy. And I'm like, can you
I told you I'm with a friend and I'm doing stuff too.
Yeah.
And I don't text you back in 10 minutes, so you double text me saying, anyway, this happened in college. This guy, we had been on a date. I think he like slept over once, but we actually didn't hook up, which was weird. I think he just stayed over or something.
So weird.
I know.
That's so fucking weird.
That is so
Hannah,
weird.
that's so weird.
Shut up. Shh. I was making pasta and we were texting.
So weird. I'm sorry.
And look. Listen. I was making like pasta or something and I was like, cooking, so I wasn't looking at my phone for probably 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I was chopping and whatever. And he had texted me and I didn't text back. And 20 minutes later, he was like, look, if you're not into me, just say so.
Where do you find these men? All I want is someone to respond to me quickly, and I can't find one. Okay, well, we went over the weirdest thing someone has ever said to you. Now I want to know the weirdest thing, besides a lifetime of anxiety issues and depression and self-esteem problems. What is the weirdest thing a man has given you?
Okay, you go first. I gotta think.
Okay, it's not an STD.
I gotta talk.
Something about me, again, I have lived a life full of sinus infections and like sinus problems and everything that relates to your sinuses, including your ears and your eyes and basically everything in your brain, in your skull, I should say. I hooked up with this guy who I found out a few days later had a sinus infection and was really sick, and I consequently got very sick. A lot of people don't know this, but your sinuses feed out into your tear ducts. So often when you get a sinus infection, you can end up with pink eye. No, it is not always because you shat on your pillow and somehow smeared it into your eyeball, which is the bullying I received as a child. When
I do that every day. Come on.
I know. I literally always was made fun of in trauma in middle school because I got pink eye so much, and everyone was like, "You're putting poop in your eyeballs," and I was like,
"No, children are dirty.
I'm gross, and I get sinus infections every other month, and now it's in my eyes." Anyway, so I got an eye infection from this guy, and because I've dealt with it so often, I was like, "This is easy for me. It goes away in 2 days. It's fine." Didn't go away. It lingered and lingered and lingered, and it was getting really irritated on and off. And I went into a doctor and they were like, we're not really sure what this is because it like doesn't look like bacterial pink eye, which is like the common kind. So I went to an ophthalmologist whom I had never been to before.
Different.
Apparently this sinus infection / eye infection had mutated into a virus that had latched onto my cornea, in both eyes. And I had to take medicine, not wear contacts for 8 months. 8 months out of my life, I could not wear contacts. I was like running outside in glasses. I was on medication and it did not go away.
I would have said weeks, but you're right. It was a really long period of time.
It was like February to fall.
Yeah.
I also had to go to the ophthalmologist every 2 weeks to get it checked up. And every time I went, it was $120. So I should bill that man for the time. He also...
Careful, he might like it. Careful, he might like it.
He also... I have to tell this story right now because I'm a little buzzed and it's so fucking funny. So...
this is a long episode.
This is going to be such a long episode. I'm so sorry. So the morning after we had... some fun. That's actually a lot to call it. It was Valentine's Day. It was your Valentine's Day party. So it was February to paint the scene for everyone.
Wow.
I wake up in the morning and I'm like disgusting. I'm like, I didn't wash my face. I need to shower. We had been to Little Miss Whiskey's, which is a really crowded, sweaty bar. I'm going to shower. My apartment at the time, kind of weird. I had like a walk-through closet. And at the end of my walk-through closet was my shower. It was a weird setup, hard to explain. But I get up. Yes? You look inquisitive.
The sinus infection was from the first or second time?
First. Don't throw me under the bus and tell everyone that I hooked up with him again. So I get up and go to the shower. And like, I understand in some instances after you have had a sleepover with someone, you might want to shower together. I think I made it pretty clear that that's not what this mission was. I like didn't wake him up. I like wasn't like, come here. Like,
yeah,
it was just like,
I'm going to shower. Do you want to join?
No, I just got up. I showered. 5 minutes later, I hear pat, 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 and he opens the shower door, and I was like, I'm gonna kill myself. I was like, this is not what I want. So I'm like showering again. I was on a mission. I like needed to be clean and like in clean clothes and just bleh. He takes my Pureology shampoo, and for the women listening at home, I know you know that shit is $28. And
for the little bottle too,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, for the little bottle, he takes a handful of Pureology shampoo and puts it under his armpits.
Pour one out for the shampoo.
Literally, I was so upset. I was like, oh my God, I can't. Anyway.
Well, look, he's just trying to really grow his armpit hair and have really healthy hair follicles.
I guess. Yeah, and then I got an 8-month eye infection, which still affects me to this day, by the way. I have really severe floaters that I actually was thinking about this morning have gotten so bad that I could probably get the surgery covered by insurance.
Fair.
Because it's impairing my vision.
One thing they don't really tell you in school or anywhere, unless you read AARP apparently, but my mom told me.
Or listen to our podcast.
Yeah, now you're hearing it here if you don't know already. My mom shared with me that she learned that apparently as you age, your floaters can get really bad.
Mm-hmm.
But if you use like eye drops and stuff, like even just like at night before bed, like regularly to lubricate your eyeballs, you can help prevent it.
Interesting. I should do that. I think
It's
I'm
like
a little far gone now,
it's
but
like, well, it's because you're dying tomorrow.
yeah,
But,
one can only hope.
knock on the fucking wood here.
That's interesting because
it's like learning about Kegels.
Yeah, but
No one tells you. You just find out from when somebody's
floaters
done it.
aren't they're tangible. They are buildup of protein in your eye.
Yeah, so the ones
it's
I guess when you get when you're older is because of like
more
overall
like cataracts.
dehydration-y type stuff, which is why lubricating like regular eye drops, not Lumify.
Yeah. Be careful with Lumify, children.
But yeah, like a regular like CVS or whatever generic. Well,
God,
maybe not CVS.
I should incorporate that into my nighttime self-care routine because my
get yourself a Bausch and Lome lubricating eye drop. Put it in before bed.
Right now, I'm literally washing them. Now that we're
health.
talking about it, I'm focused on my floaters. Yeah, that's I think the weirdest thing a guy has given me long term is an 8-month eye infection. Did you think of one?
I was thinking, and it's like some of these, I guess men don't really give me anything except a poor sense of self.
I mean,
yeah. So I'm just like sitting here like,
my drunken embarrassment complex came from a man.
Yeah,
it did. This guy I dated in high school, I was around the time that, like, as a high school, as like a 16, 17-year-old, you start drinking and you're like, oh, fun, we can go to parties and get in trouble. And it was when I was seeing him and he didn't drink. And I remember so many instances of like being a little bit drunk around him and him just being like, I can't believe you spilled your beer on me. And like being so rude and like so condescending. And every time I did something like remotely imperfect when I had been drinking, he wouldn't let it go. And like I remember one time I went to visit my best friend from home, Amanda, at FSU. And he was there and I went to like kiss him and he's like, I'm not kissing you when you taste like alcohol. And I just like walked away from that like formative time in my life where I'm like growing. I'm dating for the first time. I'm drinking for the first time. And now I have this association in my head where like, if I do anything remotely embarrassing, I'm literally still working on getting over that complex. If I do anything remotely embarrassing when I have been drinking, I will not let it go for months. Like, I self-deprecate and I think about it. Like, on a second date recently, the same guy with the vibrator search history and sweaty face, we're walking to another bar yet again, and I literally ate shit. Like, my ankle gave out. I just
Your
tripped.
ankles.
I mean, my ankles go through some tough times, but I tripped. And he was like, oh my God, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And I was like, can we just never talk about this again? Because, like, if we do, I am going to think that you think I'm ridiculous and that you hate me and, like, all this stuff. And I was like, I can't get it out of my head.
Drunk. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's because of that literal high school relationship and how I was treated that, like, and this guy was wonderful about it and never brought it up again. And if I did, he'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. And it's lovely. But I'm like, I literally think if I, like, trip getting out of an Uber, that it's like going on my permanent record, and
Yeah,
everyone
it's
is
like I
gonna laugh.
already have so much self-consciousness and shame and guilt and anxiety just
Yeah.
being a pubescent woman into like becoming an adult. You know, you're 16, like, you know,
Yeah.
like your hormones are raging, my guy. But
You're
like
fucking sick hormones, dude.
yeah, these hormones are like anyway, you know what I mean? But it's like
Yeah,
I already
you know
have
what I
that
mean.
going on, and then you're giving me a confirmation
Yeah.
on all of these thoughts.
I don't think I've ever talked about the fact that he texted me an apology my sophomore year of college. Yeah. He
What a
did.
fucking loser.
He texted me an
Sorry.
apology my sophomore year of college and was like, I was really selfish in our relationship. And I was like, I have nothing to say to
You
you.
think?
I responded that. I was like, I have nothing to say. Like, I'm not holding bad blood. Like, I mean, it's not really bad blood. Like, I don't think he did it maliciously. I think it was just like...
Yeah, that was his opinion.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Anyways.
I think the weirdest thing a guy has given me, well, nothing else really weird, but I have scars.
You've gotten
not
some...
from what you might think, but this is
scars on your heart.
I'm assuming this is from a man. So freshman year of college, I went to this frat party, and Penn State, you have pretty sizable frat parties. It's not like a basement thing all the time. It's big room, whatever. I'm dancing. All of a sudden, I get hit in the face, and then everything's just wet. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Like a water balloon?
Someone threw a basically full beer can, and it hit me like perfectly on my bridge of my nose and top of my lip.
Scar.
And I was bleeding out of my lip. Like, I had beer in my eyes.
That sounds scary.
I luckily had brought, like, did you ever use, like, an old sweatshirt or jacket and call it a fracket?
Yeah.
For the frats. Yeah. So I had, like, an old sweatshirt fracket.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was using it to, like, wipe my eyes, hold it on my lip. I was, like, I knew people at the frat, thank goodness. Like, my best friend at the time was in the frat. I was, like, I need... like, where are the paper towels? Like, I need something. So I was able to, like go into, like, the kitchen and, exactly.
Yeah.
Get, like, the ice, get, like, paper towels to, like, clean it up.
Ugh, out of, like, the industrial ice machine.
Exactly. I'm
Love
like,
those.
some idiot, like, honestly, I hope to God it was open, because if it wasn't, that's even scarier. But had launched and it was... I wasn't in a sorority at that time, so this was open to all the Jeeds, you know?
Yeah.
So it was, like, some fucking idiot in a full-ass crowd of people threw a basically like one swig out of like natty light.
Fuck that. We can go back to episode 1 talking about throwing shit at artists on stage. Don't do it. Don't throw things. Put it down.
I can put it down.
Drop it. I'm looking at you. Put it down.
Drop it.
Yeah, not funny.
Good boy. Good boy. Who's your good boy?
Not funny.
Not you. But yeah, if I got close to like a nice lit area, I can see I still have like a little line on my nose, and on my lip I have a little scar too.
Wow, you should sue him.
I know. Anyway, that's the craziest thing a man's ever given me. I'm glad we got to vent about men today.
I know.
I really needed it after this week.
We really did. And it's funny because we like briefly outline what we want to talk about every week, and we more times than not are like looking for stories, and this week we had to cut things and bump them to what the next episode is going to be. So
yeah, no,
stay tuned.
Between the dating show and my actual dating life, we needed this.
I know.
This week.
It's funny because the last episode was Hannah's worst date, and now I feel like this episode is like Hannah's dating show, and I'm like, I need to do something interesting to pull my weight.
Yeah, can you date more toxic men?
Preferably not. I've done my time.
Yeah, I hope you find someone soon, because I'm tired of both of us having to live through this together.
Yeah.
One's enough. Give Washingtonian and Probs a follow.
Yes.
They're awesome. Watch their dating shows every Wednesday on their Instagram Live. And if you don't follow us, we are Funny, Hot, Very Cool on social medias.
And if you're a new listener from watching Hannah on the dating show, welcome. We're happy to have you.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. And the last thing here is just a reminder that you can watch us on YouTube, and also Spotify now allows us to show video as well. So
you can see our
do
faces.
audio or visual on Spotify if you're interested. And if you just hate looking at us, that's fine. You don't have to look at us, but
it's understandable.
I will cry about it. So
Okay.
anyway, thanks for tuning into
Bye,
our
everyone.
wine episode. We appreciate it. Love
Let's
you,
do more
bye.
wine episodes. All right, bye, stupid idiot.
Bye.
Bye.